Good afternoon, everyone. We are delighted to have you join us as we kick off another insightful session on connecting the dots. First and foremost, we extend our gratitude to our esteemed speakers for their participation in this panel discussion. Mr. Venugopal Rao, Chief Executive Officer at Autoline Industries Limited. Mr. Krishna Kumar Gupta, Director at Resurgent India Limited. Mr. Dev Tripathi, CFO at Philips India Limited. Mr. Ankush Akar, Senior Vice President and CFO at Datamatics Global Services Limited. And Mr. Jogendra Singh, President and Group CFO at Hero Enterprise. A warm welcome to all. HREI welcomes you all to the session in this insightful topic, the impact of global supply chain issues on financial strategy. To know more about HRA and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. I am pleased to introduce our moderator for today's session, Mr. Jogendra Singh, who will be guiding us through the discussion with his insights and expertise. Jogendra Singh is President, Group CFO, and board member of Hero Enterprise, which includes companies engaged in manufacturing, real estate, and insurance broking operations. Earlier, Joginder was the first employee and part of the team to establish Daimler India Commercial Vehicle Private Limited, makers of Bharat-Benz trucks and buses. He has been guest faculty to various management institutes, including Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Asian Finance Innovation Summit, CII, ISB, IIM Indore, Lucknow, and Sambalpur, IIT Hyderabad and Dharwad, IMT, among others, and a speaker on many CXO platforms. He has interest in the creative fields and has translated the best business book of the year, The Making of Hero, as Hero Ki Kahani, and has co-authored the book Strategy, Valor and Grit. He has been featured in books and magazines for his social roles. He is an accomplished singer and writes Hindi poetry. To know more about
Thank you.
Jogendra, you can follow him on LinkedIn. The link has been shared in the chat window. We are delighted to have him as today's moderator. To take the conversation forward, I now hand over to Mr. Jogendra. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Faisal, and thank you, HRAI. And hello, friends who are here and been waiting for some time. Thanks, HRAI, for inviting me to discuss this very important topic, the impact of global supply chain issues on financial strategy. The topic could not have been more timely. The last few years have shown us that supply chain vulnerabilities are no longer just an operational concern. They are a financial imperative. Let me start with a very striking fact. According to McKinsey, companies can now expect supply chain disruption lasting a month or longer to occur every 3.7 years on average. During the pandemic, global supply chain shocks wiped out an estimated 4 trillion in GDP in 2020 alone, as per the World Bank report. The last 5 years have transformed supply chain management from a tactical cost center into a driver of risk, resilience, and value creation. The repercussions of a recent supply chain crisis are staggering, and they are profound impacts of supply chain disruptions on how do you draw your financial strategy. The challenges are not behind us. The Red Sea shipping crisis in 2024 forced ships to reroute around Africa, increasing freight costs by more than 60% in some cases. Semiconductor shortages continue to plague industries, costing the automotive sector alone about 210 billion in lost revenues in 2021, as per report from AlixPartners. Today, we are dealing with Mr. Donald Tariff Trump, 50% tariff on India for whatever reason. These disruptions have a very direct financial impact. Increasing working capital requirements due to higher inventory holding. There are margin pressures on input costs because they fluctuate very unpredictably. Foreign exchange and interest rate risks are amplified by this global volatility. And then there is a need for fresh capital allocation strategies, including supplier diversification, nearshoring, and digital investments. These ripple effects have not just inflated costs. So there was a survey in 2025, Cuma Industries survey, which said that 1/3 of businesses worldwide expect supply chain conditions to worsen compared to 2024. With trade war tensions, climate events, we are seeing it these days, tariffs and cyber attacks, adding unprecedented volatility to the flow of goods and capital. In fact, the World Economic Forum noted that 56% of the leading chief economists anticipate weaker global economic conditions this year due to supply side constraints. Warren Buffett once said very famously, only when the tide goes out, you discover who has been swimming naked. The tide has surely gone out in the global supply chain, and the exposure is very clear. But I always say when you have a setback, don't sit back, step back and bounce back. So CFOs and supply chain leaders must therefore think differently. This is not just about resilience. It's about turning volatility into competitive advantage. A Deloitte survey in 23 found that 79% of CFOs believe the supply chain resilience is now a top priority in financial strategy, up from 30% from COVID. So finance leaders have responded by aligning capital structures, tightening cash management. And I remember, during COVID period, we all worked on something called, cash tower house. So where we were just centralizing all the cash, we were pooling it, and we were trying to see how this is being used. And then today you look at investing it in predictive analytics and digital visibility. So when your sales are plummeting, companies are really overhauled how they manage supply chains, inventory, production, staffing. Today, the supply chain is our lifeline to the world and key to achieving sustainable growth. Flexibility, agility, transparency, and resilience are no longer optional. They are fundamental to strategic finance. I have a wonderful panel today, and today's panel of leaders represent decades of experience navigating financial adaptation and volatility. These disruptions of today may be the catalysts for tomorrow's competitive advantage. Let's move forward to unpack this crucial topic together. We will explore with our panel members the trade-offs between resilience and cost efficiency. We will look at the role of technology, ESG, and geopolitics. And most importantly, the path forward for CFOs and chief supply chain officers in jointly crafting the financial strategies that withstand disruption while creating long-term value. With that, let me invite our esteemed panel to dive into critical this conversation. So first of all, maybe I'd like to ask each one of you to describe which companies do you belong to, and just give a brief description in about 2 minutes of what your company is doing. So Mr. Venugopal, we can start from you.
Yeah, so I'm audible, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I am Chief Executive Officer of Autoline Industries. Autoline Industries is an auto component manufacturer supplying to various prestigious OEMs like Tata Motors, Mahindra, then Ashok Leyland, then MG, and Hector. So primarily it is the auto ancillary unit, tier 1 company. And I was a CFO some time back, 1.5 years back, now CEO of this company, having a mechanical background. And earlier part of the career, I worked with the manufacturing area. So this way, this very brief introduction, Azam.
Good. Thank you. Dave, could you just go ahead?
Sure. So thank you so much, Joginder ji. Good afternoon to everyone. I am Dev Tripathi. I am the CFO for Philips India subcontinent. Philips in India is for almost 100 years now. We have we have come to know, I think the company got established in 1930 to India, being a Dutch company, but gone through various transformation. Today, we are one of the among the top 3 health tech service providers in the country, working on improving the lives of people on various sides, starting from preventive health to diagnosis to treatment and care.
Good. Thank you, Dev. Mr. Ankush, can you go ahead, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ankush Akad. I'm CFO at Datamatics Global Services Limited. It's a pretty old company. We have been in the industry for now over 50 years. Rather, our chairman, Dr. Kanodia, was the first founding member of the TCS, which we know in terms of the size of the organization today. And he basically, with an entrepreneurial mindset, he started this company, and today we are almost 200 million plus size is where we are. We are largely into IT, ITS. So the 3 business segments that we serve, basically the digital technology side, digital operations, and digital experience services. So these are the 3 areas that we serve, with a focus on the artificial intelligence, which is anyways one of the key disruptor today in the technological industry.
Thank you, Ankush. And Mr. Krishna Kumar, if you would you be able to do that? Okay, I think he was facing some technical issues. So let me start with you, Mr. Venugopal. My question is, how have recent global supply chain disruptions affected corporate financial strategies? Mr. Venugopal, please.
Sorry. Thanks for the very pertinent question in the VUCA environment right now. So what we have seen is like companies are tightening liquidity through supply chain finance, which you also specified in your earlier this one, to buffer volatility from tariffs and the trade disruptions. The second thing is like many firms have cut or revised earning guidance as cost rise and supply risk persist right now. And AI and predictive tools are actually becoming much more prominent as of now, are being deployed to manage to lean inventories and improve procurement agility. Then CFOs are focusing on resilience, diversified sourcing, scenario planning, and ERM integration to anticipate shocks like right now what we are facing a current environment. The overall shift is towards balancing cost efficiency with risk management, embedding resilience into financial strategies. So overall, if you see the strategic takeaways is we are using majority of the levers like strategic levers, supply chain finance, AI and predictive systems, scenario planning and ERM specifically, diversified sourcing and board level attention. So in this process, actually something like a leveraging supplying finance for liquidity and risk mitigation, scaling back financial forecasts, investing into AI and predictive tools, deploying resilience planning, and going very close to the COO level, and even CFOs are becoming much more manufacturing friendly and trying to understand what actually is actually happening, real facts at the manufacturing arena. It's imperative for CFOs to see back and yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So it's a much more in the sense the financial analysts are becoming a factory analyst sort of it. So going very close to this one and what sort of order positions, which are their sales order positions, and how actually they are going to be done. Then when the raw material planning also when they're going to do. So what you rightly said is supply chain is becoming a much more critical, which is actually some of the companies may be close to, in our company it is close to 76% is the revenue is going into supply chain. And when resilient environment and very vulnerable things comes in picture, your cash block also takes place. So from that perspective, a bigger role playing, as rightly said, it's a much more digitalization and as well as AI predictive systems are helping CFOs to move forward.
Yes, I think, very well said that 76% of the revenue is dependent on the supply chain issues. So then it becomes very, very critical.
Yeah.
Dev, I come back to you on, what are your biggest financial risks, that your company is facing due to supply chain volatility? Especially you talk about, give maybe some examples from your experience since you are a multinational company.
So, I think Juniperji, we survive because of supply chain. We are an industry. Being in healthcare, healthcare is a very niche segment and niche industry. Unlike many of the other industry, for example, automobile, where you get a scale. Whereas healthcare as an industry, the scale is not to an extent like what you see in an automobile or many other industries. So
I think
as
this is the first time I am getting it now. So I am not knowing what are the effects are there, how I am getting it.
Okay,
So-
because all the other speakers have the same,
Mr. KK, Mr. KK, you need to mute yourself.
Okay, I think they are giving. Hello, sir. You are getting me, sir?
Yes, we are getting you.
yes.
Maybe you can
Yes,
just,
yes, we're
stop
getting
for a while. Mr. Dev Tripathi is responding to a question.
Hey,
I'll come back to you after this, please. Thank you.
Asking you getting my voice.
Yes,
we
I can hear your voice.
Chalo, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you,
Dev,
thank
please
you.
go ahead.
So what happens actually, we are an industry where the world is the factory for us. So our supply chains are completely scattered. And it is being a very precision driven industry. The competencies are actually cannot be built overnight. And forget about overnight. It takes decades to build those competencies in any of the market. And it is, with all due respect, it's about how the maturity of the system, the manufacturing system, the SMEs, MSMEs ecosystem, everything actually comes together to see that how the industry supply chain is built. So coming back to our industry where complete supply chain is scattered. Now you imagine that whatever problem you said, Jovinderji, whether it is Red Sea or it is any war across the world, we get impacted. So that's what I think. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, you're right, Dev. Supply chain is not something that you can build in a day. So therefore, and you could talk about some more financial risks that the companies face because of this volatility.
Sure. So let me delve into something which is completely right now what is happening today, which is from a new name I heard, Javinderji, from you. Quite nice. I think you have explained it well. So if you see how broadly, and before I get into the specific financial risk, I'll say that, okay, let's see what is the bigger problem. The problem between these two countries is about a $132 billion trade. Around 86 and a half billion is exports from India, and around 45 billion is something which is import by India. Put together, if you'll see our out of the total GDP, it is 3.3%. Now, considering that, okay, only 3.3%, now the biggest challenge is that whether it gives a sleepless night to the government may not be. It is a problem. Yes, it is a problem, but it is not something which will really is a showstopper for the government. Considering that one now imagine that people who are dependent too much on one country, then there is a problem. So sectoral, there are problems. If you have too much of dependency with any specific market, or for raw materials, you have specific problems there, then you have a problem. Now coming to financial side, I see there are 2 to 3 types of risks, which is operational, financial, and social. Operational, if you see, yes, we manufacture. We have factories which manufacture and which goes across the globe, including US. So what happens actually is that suddenly you lose competitiveness. Okay, the tariff rate is 50%. Effectively, if you see industry level, it is coming to 33.5%, because there are still so far pharma and electronics and telecom are still exempt from there. So effectively 33%, but specific industries who are not exempted, the cost is 50%. If it is 50%, then you are losing the shine and competitiveness. The second thing which is coming is that, okay, then the order book loss or the, where you can see the cancellations of the order book. The third thing is that, okay, what are you going to do with the inventories which you have built up? Because you have accumulated so much of inventory. Moving to the second, if you see financial risk, where I see is the longer one. One is certainly the working capital, because inventory is built up. Payments, definitely there will be some impact in the cycle. The bigger one, which is a long-term one, which is not direct but indirect one, because your exports will be impacted. Your imports, which you are doing crude oil and energy and aircraft, that's not going to stop. As a result, what's going to happen, I think it is more or less established that the currency or the rupee
Yes,
will have an impact. And that's
that's
why
right.
indirectly all of us are going to impact, because the cost of imports, the cost of raw materials, everything is going to impact. And the third thing which I said is the social impact, which our consumers will face. Okay, whether it is, and when I say customer, every person in this country is a customer for us. Now, the sectors which are going to get impacted and which will be more labor intensive. So whether it is jewelry, textile, marine, food, seafoods, leather, these are the areas which will be impacted to a great extent. And these are out of the population. This is a significant size of the population. So that's where our customers on a longer run, that will have or a mid run, that will have an impact. So to summarize, we have I can say that, okay, there is business risk, there are financial risk, and then there are social impacts, which all the things is going to impact our business.
Yeah, good. I think you summarized it as well. Mr. Krishnan Kumar, I come to you and just talk about, is building resilience more expensive than pursuing efficiency?
Sir, what I feel it, both are the equivalent. You have to discuss both the resilience and also what you're talking about, the efficiency. You're getting me?
Yes, yes,
You're
please.
getting me, sir? So these are the
Yes,
both
yes.
are the, for any organization, these two things are important. For a disruption, resiliency is important because they have to incur all the costs, all the information, all the financial cost, but it is long term what we are talking about. So when we are talking about the efficiency is better increase the productions. Resources are available, disruption is not there. So for that mean, both are interconnected, whether we are talking about the efficiency or the things are there. So first point, what you are talking about the disruption, for that we require a high cost for that. And it's a long-term planning. And it's also cost saving for a long term. When we are talking about the efficiency, it is for a short-term period. It is cost reductions. And it is a potential risk also available to them. That means both are any organizations, when we are talking about any form or anything, both are important things are there. So we cannot say either it is useful for one or it is lost to other people, or both are essential for any organization. What I feel, because for any form or under disruption, it is required to set right.
Yes, absolutely.
That is a
Yes.
long-term view. That my view
Yes.
is both are essential for that. We cannot categorize anything.
Yes. Yes, right. Thank you. Mr. Ankush, how should CFOs and chief supply chain officers collaborate differently today?
I think the current volatilities and the environment which is there, the global environment, it becomes more and more important to see in terms of both the functions to work very closely. When I look at, I always look at in terms of the collaboration, innovation, and the robust governance are key to sustain in these kind of environments. And more and more in terms of, we have seen during COVID, post-COVID as well, and now with the kind of uncertainties which are there with the geopolitical tensions, different tariff wars which are happening. So it becomes further more important in terms of the chief supply chain officer and the CFO function both work very collaboratively closely. I think, and I come from the technology background, from a tech industry, IT industry. The tech play a key role Because one of the key element which is important for the business is to have a visibility in terms of what is happening and how do they see the future, the predictability of the future. And that plays a key role in terms of how robust the processes are, how much as a business we are ready to take the right decisions as well. And that is, I think, one important element where both the functions have to look at in terms of prioritize the innovations, the processes, how it can be automated, so that there is a single source of truth. There's one view which is available to everyone, and they look at in terms of prioritizing the risk which are there and how those risks can be mitigated. So that is one key element which is there. The second aspect, which I would talk from a sustainability, also is becoming a more and more important element. It has now not only a board level discussions, it has gone into the execution as well in terms of how sustainability can be part of the organization culture. And that's another key element in terms of from a sourcing perspective, how from where we are sourcing it. That again is a bigger element which is there, which also has an impact in terms of the cost as well, and to some extent even the working capital aspects, because that's another key element. So these are the aspects which are very important for us to look at in terms of how a finance function along with the supply chain and the other operations work closely, collaboratively, looking at the data points and help each other in terms of achieving the end objectives. So that's, I think, key element. I'll just give you just in terms of from a because in a IT industry, the supply chain is not the typical supply chain that we see in the manufacturing or other industries. For us, it's basically more so in terms of the human capital which is there. That is one of the key element which is there for us. And after the human capital, then in terms of the partnerships that we have with different vendors to provide us the software licenses which are there, which are required for the IT operations, the facilities and infrastructure which is required, the mobility aspect which is there. So managing those aspects, ensuring all the compliances becomes an important element, and that's where the both operations and the finance function has to work together to look at in terms of in a much more compliant way. We basically are able to predict the future, we are able to plan out, and ensuring in terms of the capability reskilling is being planned as well. We are looking at in terms of how we can utilize the partnerships in a much more better way to grow the business in a sustainable way, in a more profitable manner, ensuring in terms of the risk which are there can be mitigated. And these are the key aspects. And that too,
Yes,
that all
absolutely.
can be achieved. That all can be achieved through the technology, because technology plays a key role in end-to-end supply chain.
So I come to technology. Mr. Venugopal, can you maybe explain what role does digital technology play in managing financial exposure to supply chain risks?
Yeah, so actually, currently, if you see, there are a lot more real-time visibility platform like IoT and blockchain, digital twins. So much more advanced ones actually. Some of them we are also already using it. So this helps actually track shipments and supplier health. Also, you can check their ratings and other things and credit rating and disruptions instantly. This enables actually faster financial decisions. And other than that, if you see previously also we talked about something like AI and predictive analytics. These are model tariff changes, raw material shortages, or logistic delays, allowing CFOs to adjust forecast and hedge exposure proactively. Beyond this, we have something like cloud-based ERP system like SAP S/4HANA. It can be cloud-based, which it can go on public cloud, it can go on private cloud, and there are procurement softwares are available like in the SAP SAP HANA itself. If you see the SAP Ariba is there, then if you really it's going to become much more costlier in the licensing also there. So tier 1 companies, OEM can definitely go for Ariba, which is a very able procurement platform. Otherwise, a tier 1 company like us can go to Procol, can go to manufacturing app, and like that, several other apps are available which can finally get integrated with the SAP HANA. So these are the procurement, finance, operations, and ensuring a cash flow impact of supplier is visible across the enterprise. As for HANA itself, if you see, there are Fiori apps are there which can be now completely Wi-Fi enabled. Plants are going to be useful so that you can see where your raw material is actually there. If there is going to be the S-logs like virtual store locations which are there. If multi-layer point of view, multi-plants, if they are there, you will be able to even track it and you understand which material lying where. And there is a good connect with the vendors as well, steel vendors, you can call it as the bought out vendors. You'll be able to see in the scheduling, you can give it to them. And based on your the type of raw material or bought out inventory you wanted to make it, so this is very well possible. So these are the tools. And another thing is the digital supply chain, like a finance platforms are there. These are optimized working capital by automating early payments and something like now these days, if you see fintech solutions sort of it, if you see the invoice discounting is there, then prompt payment discountings are there. You can give it to MSME side, very good platform to them so that within 2 days, 3 days, they can get it and they'll pay some nominal interest. And you yourself can pay that so that interest provisions, what usually when we are unable to pay within 45 days to make it, that you can get away with that. And something like a dynamic discounting and extend credit securely also you can pay because some of the companies, they have their own credit facilities available. That credit facility you can extend it to your own vendors. Same thing like a scenario modeling tools also there which simulate multiple disruption outcomes. That those are actually becoming a reference point for all CFOs to understand what sort of scenarios which are there. You can several scenarios is possible. If you see even artificial intelligence tool itself, it give you within no time the scenario. You can humanize it actually. If we must know how actually it can be utilized. So you can humanize it and you can get away within various platforms like Perplexity. If you see the lot of research-based things are there across the world, what is happening and how we are going to really place yourself. That is the one. Then support risk adjusted capital allocation and insurance decisions also can be made. Then third thing is actually nowadays, because we are so much exposed to this technology, there's cyber security and tech solutions are there. There is a protect financial data and compliance processes where people have away from India and are otherwise the company which is getting managed from outside India. They're going to definitely reduce risk from the digital fraud or regulatory penalties. One of the greatest thing which is happening in the S4 HANA is the disaster management and as well as real-time backups are already available. And audit trail is directly available with you so that at any point of time, you will not have any problem. And automatic inventory management system really helping CFOs to even to understand and all other like MRP runs or back flushing or when we do, you really understand what sort of actually inventory we should clearly maintain. So these actually several fintech platforms further available, which I'm not going more in detail, which is actually control your and help you to have account receivables, account payable, and there are many platforms in between, which is actually going to increase your agility in the financial platforms and financial systems. So that way, many number of platforms available. Instead of you stick to the big things, Oracle platforms or SAP HANA. So you should utilize the small fintech solutions which are there, which though it looks as a threat to them, but it is going to be the friendly for us. So that's the way I see. It's a huge sum of things are happening in the financial domain, and technology really playing a vital role.
Yes, thank you, Venu. I think this was very important that technology today plays the role of a catalyst, an enabler, for all of us professionals. Dave, coming to you, how do financing and capital allocation decisions change under this cloak of supply chain uncertainty?
Yeah. So before going there, Mr. Joginder, I'll tell you since how long this situation is continuing. So the situation is fluid, and the
Yes,
situation is
very
continuing
fluid.
for quite some time. So
Yes.
I must say that, okay, in this situation, to take a capital investment decision is really difficult, because all of your assumptions are going for a change. It is a complete dynamic situation. So again, now giving an example of current tariff, if you have to take a decision, I'm being a CFO, we have always been conservative. So if you'll ask me what should we do, we are like just like a tortoise. First, we need to fortify our cash. So we need to see that what all
Yeah.
things can be done to make sure that our exposures in terms of receivables are being taken care of. Um, Considering no, and second thing, I think Mr. Venu has also highlighted, uh, there are many items in the balance sheet, being coming back to typical finance. There are many items in the balance sheet in a normal day when we don't look into. At least let's see how we can encash them. For example, GST receivable, tax receivable, other disputes which is there. Those things can be nudged to see that if we can liquidate them and increase our cash. Why I'm saying so? Because any such disruptions also brings an opportunity. In a down cycle, if you have no resources or cash is available, then I think this is the best time to also invest and look for the opportunities. The second, the third thing, if you'll see, after you preserve your cash and reduce your exposures, second question you asked about the capital reallocation. So
That's
if you
right.
ask me, Ravinderji, uh, typically in this type of situations, there are capital investment which is large. Maybe that, okay, we will say that, okay, let's take a pause and things should stabilize. And considering especially supply chains like our industry, where it is scattered all across, and in typical and environment where it is completely protectionist, everybody is trying to protect their economy, their country, their region. Maybe we'll take a slow step there, while the certain smaller steps which we need to take is that go to market. If it is expanding, beyond India, beyond US, that I think uh, certainly we will take a call. Okay, we will invest there. And second thing is that when everybody is protectionist, then we need to see that how you expand your domestic market. And best thing you started the discussion today is that how the government is realized also, and they have already opened up yesterday that an impetus to boost the domestic market. The third thing, which no, in a global economy, if you'll ask me, um, that is one is and majority of the countries are looking for that, is that if you can look for no rupee settlement, and that is more and more becoming important as we see the changes happening.
And a
The second
reality.
one, yeah, that's becoming a reality. I think people
Yes.
doesn't like it. Many of the global north doesn't like to see it,
Yeah.
but I think they are forcing us to explore these options. And one thing which we cannot compromise is something on the hedging. And I think Mr. Venu has also covered it. So hedging is something which we need to be on top of the things. So these are the three things. One is that, okay, fortify risk, fortify your cash or exposures through reduce your exposure and fortify your cash. The second thing is that, okay, not large investments this time, but certainly look for market expansions. And third thing is that some basics like hedging and rupee settlements. These are the opportunities which we should, which as a CFO, I look forward to.
Yes, Dave, I agree with your kind of uncertainties and disruptions that's just going on. And we used to say, we have shifted from BAU to DAU, as you say, business as usual to disruption as usual, kind of scenario. And of course, you also, gave a very good, example of, we use technology primarily to untangle whatever are my issues in my P&L or in my balance sheet. So you gave an example of tax refunds, and
Example, if I'll tell
I
you,
agree with you. That during pandemic there was a time when the government also made it easier for you to approach them and take out old, refund issues and all that. And that was a wonderful time. We took out everything. So some old cases were also resolved during that period. So not only that, there could be other areas which are, sitting in these kind of corners, especially when you talk about cash. And we must definitely be looking for them. Mr. Krishnan Kumar, I just come to you. When we talk about these geopolitical tensions, whether it's trade wars or Russia-Ukraine conflict or anything else, how do you think these are shaping financial decisions?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is an important question of the days because any conflict is affecting the global market. Either we have this is negative impact on the global economy and stock
Yes.
market and even the energy market, and we are talking about the commodity pricing also and resources also. Because any investor in type of a conflict will never interested to expand their business. That is also because market is somewhat unstable for that. When we are talking about China and America, USA conflict, we are talking about Ukraine war, and now we are talking about the India also. So point is, when problems are there, definitely some revenue will be, you can say, revenue will be find out. So India is also thinking that we should have a new market. It is also a positive aspect. Like when we are talking about the financial implication for that, that means will be supply chain will be that is also first point what we are talking about in this today. Then risk assessment will also be there. Then investment decision what we are talking about is also a problem. We cannot invest. People will not try to invest. Then currency fluctuation will also be there. Currency problem will be also be there. Then market volatility will be there. Then we are talking about the high pricing out there. Inflation will be there. Then economic growth will be stopped. Then we are talking about the more caution by the investor to invest the money. That means for any conflict, whether we are talking about the trade conflict, whether we are talking about war conflict, any conflict will definitely affecting the economy of the world. Even for that country, you see the Ukraine or USA, or you can say the Russia. If India would not have supported, that way they will also a problem for that. So India has saved everybody because for they're getting the oil and they are exporting from their conversion, something like that. That means definitely there is financial problem will be there in any conflict, sir. That is the issue.
Yes, that's right. And may I ask the audience if they have any questions, kindly write them in the chat so that I can pose it to the right people. Please write your questions and also write to whom this is directed to. Coming to you, Ankush, in your view, the impact on SMEs versus large enterprises, how do you really see that?
So typically, any supply chain disruptions or the impact which comes in, it will, in the initial period, will have a much more severe impact on the smaller SMEs. And the simple reason is in terms of typically their financial will not be that strong. They will be dependent on fewer sources. Their ability to move to a different source would be limited because the time it takes, the negotiation which it requires, the logistics that needs to be arranged will be limited. So they will have a more severe impact, whereas the larger enterprises will be able to quickly look at in terms of what could be the different avenues that can be looked at, the different sources which can be explored, which can de-risk the challenges. Having said that, it also basically gives a bigger opportunity to the SMEs. And the reason I'm just highlighting is in terms of when there is a challenge, it brings in what they've also highlighted. There are a lot of opportunities which comes in. And typically the SMEs will have a agility in terms of where they can move quickly to a newer opportunity which probably comes in. I'll just give you an example in terms of from an impact perspective. Now, when the Russia-Ukraine war happened, okay, and companies like Global Logic, where Eastern Europe was one big hub for engineering talent, which was being utilized by the IT companies, suddenly that talent was not available to work. And you have to find out where you can get these now kind of similar kind of talent. India was one option definitely, and that's where people have moved to India as well during that time. Companies like Global Logic expanded considerably during that time. The smaller companies which were local have impacted considerably during that time, but the Indian players have utilized it in a more favorable way to expand and grow much faster during that time. And that's something which is always there wherever there are disruptions which are there. With an open mind, when we look at it, and we look at in terms of while there are challenges which are there in front of us, opportunities which are there, how do we encash those opportunities?
Absolutely. Mr. Venugopal, can you just open your camera and then maybe just talk about can nearshoring and friendshoring really reduce financial risk? And maybe since we are short on time, so you can squeeze your answer in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, actually, under current environment, everyone wants nearshoring, right? Or you can call it as a friendshoring. This is nothing but shifting supply chains to politically allied or something like a stable countries. So this actually reduced your geopolitical exposure. Quickly, I just take a bullet points out of it. And by avoiding these by default suppliers in political volatility, companies face a fewer risks. Currently, everyone is actually facing a severe problem, and we ourselves have. Then some of the places actually you get an advantage of lower logistics cost and volatility. Then something like a better currency and inflation hedging, unless otherwise the currency itself is undergoing a change. That's a huge thing. But under current environment, that's very well possible. Then improved resilience, you can call it as, because that's actually paved the way for you to plan better than somewhere like a supply chain finance and other things which are there. And that's truly the advantage situation for us. Something like a trade-off, some places actually you end up in doing something like a higher cost. Production and labor cost may be higher in some of the friendshoring countries or locations compared to traditional low-cost hubs. This may not continue for longer time, but once everything gets settled down, you will be able to establish yourself better. That might be having something like a pressure on your margins for some time, if not offset by the efficiency or automation. So if you have something like automation, probably you'll be able to tell these things. Then financial strategy impact, certainly that is another one which is definitely talk about the thing. Firms often combine near-friendly shoring with digital tools. Again, AI and ERP, which is there, actually is going to really help you, because the connectivity point of view anywhere across world, the connectivity is not an issue at all. Then store point of view, wherever you are actually creating inventory, it is easily for you to see. Like many of these consumer goods, actually they use across India or across world, wherever it is going to be there. If it is going to be easy for them, they can always supply from another store to this store if it is a fully finished or any raw material. That's actually, so again, coming back to this, with this and as well as the technology advantage, certainly pave the way for that strikes a balance between resilience and profitability. So this
Right.
just in the short the shortage of time, I just brief.
That's right. So Dev, maybe you can also just talk about a few metrics that CFOs use to measure supply chain resilience.
So, just quickly, in short, if you'll see, there are three things the CFO will be keen to or should be looking at. One is the liquidity side, saying that, okay, are you doing in working capital, inventory, usage of the RBI backed, funding, credit exposure. So that is one side is liquidity. The second one, if you'll ask me, the risk or exposure side, how much you are exposed to any specific group of markets, group of segment of customers, or group of countries. That I think the CFO should do. And the third one, if you'll ask me, the government, there are a lot of government benefits which have been passed on. How far am I using it, or how far am I managing those government benefits to go to the P&L? So whether it is a duty drawback or whether you said that that ROTTER, plots that ROSCTEL. These are the schemes. How far these benefits are actually flowing back to the PNL. These are the 3 KPIs broadly, if you'll ask me, Joinder ji, I look forward to.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Good. Mr. Krishna Kumar, how do ESG and sustainability, concerns align with financial strategies in supply chain?
Sir, this is an important aspect. Now the ESG, environmental, social governance, playing a very important role in the economy. When we are talking about ESG concern into financial strategy, that company can create long-term value drives, sustainability, and improve the financial performance. Sustainability is a very important aspect in any financial market. That means when we are adopting ESG, that report, I think, creating a brand, and it can be beneficial for any company for that. That means it can also reduce the cost effective performance, sale purpose. Then they also comply the regulatory informations. Then assess of CSC focus investment opportunity. That is also important aspect here. Long-term financial stability and growth when we are adopting the ESG. That means ESG now coming in a big way. Now it might be mandatory for some companies that they should have ESG. So I think in coming days, just like a rating agencies, ESG rating will also play a very important role in coming days. That is also beneficial for a company.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Ankush, looking ahead, just talk about 3 priorities for aligning supply chain and financial strategies.
I think what we've been talking about it. So one definitely is in terms of we need to have a much better visibility, and that can come from the technological advancement and enablement. So that is one definitely a key area to look at in terms of how we can have a much better integrated system, which gives a holistic view of the current state and the predictability of the future. So that is one key important element. Second element, I think, is what Dave and everybody else has been highlighting in terms of cash is definitely a key element which is there, and the working capital plays a key role. So that's another key area where both functions has to look at in terms of how it can be better managed and optimized. And another third element is, I think, the current uncertainties which are there will always poses the newer risk which are there. So identifying the risk, looking at what could be the possible mitigations is another key element which is there. So both functions have to work together to look at in terms of keep reviewing basically the newer risk which could come in and how it can be mitigated. So at least we may not be fully ready, but at least partly ready for the unforeseen events.
Good. Thank you, Ankush. And I got a couple of questions. I'd like to, I have a wonderful question actually from Rahul. Says, do you foresee companies shifting from just-in-time model to a just-in-case approach? How will this reshape financial strategies? Maybe Dev, would you like to take this?
Yeah, sure. I think we are one of the organizations which always make to order during this G, because our equipments are highly configurable and as per the requirement of the customers. But trust me, somehow that efficiency level has reached to one. No, it can bring to some level of efficiency. You can never reach it there. This type of disruptions and which is completely volatile, I don't think that you can really try for some level of efficiencies, but you need to keep trying it. That's the only thing which you should do. Keep trying different things till you reach there. And one example I must tell you, to Rahul, that today the efficiency is the only key things which you need to see every day and challenge yourself. For example, in India, we spend almost 13% of the GDP in logistics, whereas any of our peers, good peers, the cost is around 8, up to 8%, 7 to 8%. Now imagine that, okay, how much percentage of efficiency is still there we need to achieve, and how that will help us to bring efficiency. So not only in terms of just in time or just in case, but there are many other parts in the P&L and the balance sheet where we can really look and explore opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. But I really like this question, and moving from so we started with just in time, and then we moved on just in sequence, so JIT to JIS, and now just in case is another coined word that I see. Good. Nidhi has a question: how should boards and CFOs rethink capital allocation in light of recurring global supply chain challenges? Maybe Ankush, you would like to take this?
So I think it's a interesting thing in terms of because in the current environment, what we have to keep looking at is in terms of where the future will be, and that predictability and where we want to invest becomes a key element. Specifically, if I talk from a IT industry perspective, with the artificial intelligence coming and especially the generative AI and the kind of focus which is there, you're not able to really foresee in terms of where it will really end and what kind of efforts, work will be required in the future. The way it will transform the IT industry, maybe, and it's not far off as well. It's probably 3 to 5 years down the line, we will see a substantial change in the way we are working. We keep looking at in terms of the areas which could help us in terms of capturing that opportunity. And today, if I just give you in terms of, there was time in terms of from an IT perspective when everybody was on the legacy systems, and legacy to digital was one wave which was there, where the most of the, at least the companies have started moved that captured that opportunity and then grown. This probably could be another opportunity of similar size in terms of where you will see in terms of from that digital era to a more of a AI enabled era, how things will shape up. And that's,
Yes.
I think is always a game changer when you look at what we may see is in terms of some of the smaller entities may become much larger, capturing those opportunities. And that's something which is an important element to look at, and each CFOs has to keep looking at in terms of what is happening in the industry.
Yes,
And
thank
how
you, Ankur.
where
I
they
think
should
this
have
is
allocation.
this has been wonderful, and we are just overshot the time. But I would like to thank all of you. I would like to thank Venu and Ankur and Mr. Krishan and Dev. It has been a wonderful and very engaging discussions and some interesting questions as well. So I thank you all, and it was a wonderful thing. Thank you, HR Association of India, for giving all of us this opportunity as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
got
you.
it very
Thank
nicely.
you.
Very nicely, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Javindra,
Thank you, sir.
for skillfully
Thank you,
steering
HR.
the discussion. And thank you, Mr. Javindra, for skillfully steering the discussion and ensuring a seamless flow of ideas and engagement. Thank you to all our esteemed panelists. Your insights on how supply chain disruption are reshaping financial planning, risk management, and organizational resilience were extremely valuable. A special thanks to our event partners, Geisha, NASCOM COE, Talgro, TLE, WICCI, LinkedIn Local, Ahmedabad, and India for their invaluable support in making this event a success. To learn more about these associations, please refer to the link provided in the chat. We look forward to welcoming you to our next session on the topic the importance of financial communication, bridging the gap between finance and other teams on September 11, 2025. With that, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you for being part of this journey. Wishing you good health, positivity, and success until we meet again. Take care and farewell for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Venu. Thank you, Mr. PK. Thank you, Mr. Dev.
Yeah,
Ankush,
thank you.
Devendra.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.